doing. Okay.
If you desire for something and you don't deserve it, it's not good.
If you desire something but don't deserve it, Krishna will not give you that desire. That's right. And that's it. What if you desire something that's for Krishna? Will he give it to you or not? He will. Yeah. So if you desire the right thing, man proposes, God disposes, means you have some desire. And Krishna will decide whether you deserve it or not. But whether, let's say, you desire something good, but you've done a lot of bad things in your previous life. Okay? So, man proposes, God disposes. You can't get your desire unless Krishna permits you to. Okay? So if you don't deserve it, he won't give it to you. And if you deserve it, he'll give it to you. But you can't get it without his help. Let's say you desire something bad, and you haven't done any service for Krishna in this lifetime. And Krishna will help you get that bad result. And that'll get you more entangled. So therefore, you have to be careful of what you desire. There was once a man. He was lost in the desert, and he was very thirsty, and he was almost dying. And he found an oasis. You know what an oasis is? You know what an oasis is? No. Write the word down. O-A-S-I-S. Write down this word. Oasis. O-A-S-I-S. I think that's the way to spell it. Let me see. Yeah, you got it written down? O-A-S-I-S. Oasis means it's a place in the desert where there's water. That's a good thing to find in the desert, isn't it? So this man found that oasis, and he was able to satisfy his thirst, therefore he didn't die. And he was resting underneath a palm tree. Palm trees are they're like drought-resistant trees. You know what that means, to be drought-resistant. And yes, Augusta. Yeah, they can live without water for a long time. Very good. And so, this tree was a special tree, though. It was a desire tree. Full of food. And he touched it to see if it was real. He thought maybe he was hallucinating, but it was real. And it had mangoes and cherries and grapes, and it had nice subjis cooked in ghee and rice and all kinds of desserts, and you know, he looked at it and he couldn't believe it, and he took some of the food and tasted it, and it was real. So he ate to his full satisfaction, and now his stomach was full. He said, "Oh, if I only had a bed, I could sleep comfortably." All of a sudden, a bed appeared, and he couldn't believe it, you know. And he touched it to make sure it was real, and it was real. And it was nice bed and nice clean sheets. And he got into the bed and he said, "Oh, this is amazing." He said, "But if I only had a little bit of wine to go to sleep, I would feel happier." All of a sudden, there was another table with a big bottle of wine and a wine glass. And he couldn't believe it. And he touched it, and it was real. So he drank some wine and became intoxicated and said, "This is not enough wine. I want a whole ocean of wine." And all of a sudden, an ocean appeared, and he drowned and died. So, is it a good thing to have a desire tree? Well, it might be good if all your desires are for pleasing Krishna, but if your desires are for nonsense, like this man, then it can cause you to die. So everything depends on your desires. If you have good desires to please Krishna, Krishna will help you get them. If you have bad desires, then Krishna will help you also. So man proposes, God disposes. So that means if you desire something and you keep thinking about it and desiring it and desiring it and desiring it, you'll get it. And if it's bad, you'll get a lot of suffering because of that desire. And if it's good to please Krishna, then you become more and more enthusiastic for Krishna consciousness. Okay, what's your next homework? Use the microphone. Understand the microphone and use it. Okay. Go ahead. Did I give you some reference? What? Okay. Right. Say what the principle is again. Right. So in other words, Krishna owns everything. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna owns everything. So this is a principle. What does that mean, a principle? Is it someone that runs a school? Like the principal of the school? No. So what's a principle? Principle is something, it's a basic idea that governs or is at the basis of how people do things or how people think. Okay? Principle, right? Just like the principle of nonsense is what? Who knows what the principle of nonsense is? You know what the principle of nonsense is? No? Okay, that's okay. Anybody, you know what the principle of nonsense is? You've done a lot of nonsense, you know. What's the principle of nonsense? Huh? Mammalist philosophy. Explain what the mammalist philosophy is.
It's like work hard and then work really hard so that after that you can lose sense gratification.
Right. So does that sound like the principle of nonsense? Yeah. You waste your life. You work so hard and you use all the money for sense gratification, right? And so you wasted your time and you wasted the money, and you end up taking birth again. Didn't solve any problems. So the principle of nonsense is not using your time and your intelligence and everything you have that's as an asset to become Krishna conscious. You use it for nonsense. So then, what's the basic principle of Krishna consciousness? What did you say, Advitya?
Everything exists without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything.
Right. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is Lord of everything. What does that mean? He's the Lord of everything. Let's say you are the Lord of your computer. What does that mean? Yes. So, therefore, nothing can exist without Krishna. So, does that mean everything is independent of Krishna? No. Everything depends on Krishna. Everything has come from Krishna, right? He's the source of everything. And He's the Lord of everything. He's the owner of everything. So He's the creator of everything, and the source of everything. And He is the maintainer of everything. And He owns everything. And nothing is independent of Him. So this is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, if all these things are true about Krishna, then what should our conclusion be? You know what a conclusion is? That's one way. That's one meaning of it. But the meaning that what should our conclusion be after hearing that Krishna is the source of everything, nothing is independent of Him, and He's the Lord of everything, or the owner of everything? What should we conclude, or what should be our conclusion? Exactly right. Very good. Hare Krishna. Very good. Okay. So, a conclusion is your final, let's say, understanding of something. Right? Okay, so, and then the third homework? Read, speak into the microphone. Read what part of Bhagavad Gita? 3? Oh, good. Okay. 3.18 and 3.19. Very good. Go ahead.
The living entity cannot live without doing any activity. He must choose the activity that he can do. If he was secular, you have to do the karma for secular. The secular is skillful doing his duty. If he thinks he can keep the fruits of the activity, then it is wrong. He should use the skill to produce his.
Very good. Very good. So, in other words, we should only act to please Krishna and do our duties, but in such a way as Krishna and Guru will be pleased by it. And we should never give up doing our duties, right? And we should do our duties without attachments, or without attachment to the fruits of activities. What does that mean, Agastya? Without attachment to the fruits of activity. No, that's not what it means. Riya, what does it mean? Give Riya the microphone. To do our duty without attachment to the fruits of the activity. Yeah.
No matter if you get anything at the end or you don't.
Okay. Yeah, so you're not attached to the results, you're attached to doing the duty. You might be a success, you might be a failure, but you do the duty. You don't say, oh, there's no way I can succeed, I'm not going to do it. No. It's a duty, so you have to do it. But you're not attached to the result. And whatever result there is, it's Krishna's mercy. So, what does it mean to act as a matter of duty, Samart? Act as a matter of duty.
But at the same time, to not worry about the result.
You do your duty. Sometimes, like in the case of Arjuna, he had to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. It's not a very nice thing to do, but it was his duty to do it. Just like you have a duty to keep yourself clean, right? So sometimes they, I don't want to take a shower. Or, why should I go to the bathroom and pass poop? Why can't I do it in the bed? That way I don't have to get out of bed. You see? So that's not doing your duty. Your duty is to keep yourself and the house and your bed and everything clean. So you have to do certain things, right? And also we have a duty to Krishna. We have to please Krishna, otherwise our whole life is a failure. So if we don't please Krishna, or if we get Krishna, if we do things that are not pleasing to Krishna, then we're not doing our duty. Why is it a duty that we should try and please Krishna by everything we do? Why is that a duty? Why not say, well, why do I have to always please Krishna? Why can't I just please myself or please my neighbor? Why does it always have to be Krishna? Yeah, okay. Well, Krishna's smiling, so yeah, go ahead.
It's because he's the first in line.
That's true, yeah.
And because everything comes from him, it's not ours.
Right. Everything belongs to him. So then, therefore, what's the conclusion? Conclusion is that everything should be used to please Krishna. Right? If you do that, then you go back to Godhead in this lifetime. Did you want to say something else, Shashta? No, okay. Okay, is that the end of your homework, Advitya? Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, who else did their homework? Okay, go ahead. What is your name? Sridhar, yes. Get the microphone. Take the microphone.
The first question was read Bhagavad Gita 5.15 and explain man proposes and God disposes.
Yes.
So what I had was the saying means that whatever you ask, like even if you try to be successful, God will not give it to you unless you deserve it.
Okay.
So he will only give it to you if you desire stuff for him, and like if you desire good to happen to him, like to serve Krishna, he'll give it to you. But for stuff that you don't deserve, he won't give it to you.
But in any case, even if you desire something bad, only God can help you get that thing. So if you keep desiring something bad, then he's the one that's going to help you get it. If you desire something good, then he's the one that's going to help you get that good thing. But if you desire only to please Krishna by whatever you do, then you'll get it all the time. But if you desire something good for your selfish purpose, then it depends on your karma, whether you should get it or not. Krishna will look at your karma. Just like if you have done something bad. Let's say you're in court because you stole something. And you know, there's what's called a prosecuting attorney and a defense attorney. So the prosecuting attorney represents the state, like Washington State. And he tells the judge, so-and-so stole this. It was worth $500, and he should get, 3 months in jail. And the defense attorney says, but he's only 12 years old. He didn't really know what he was doing, and it's his first offense, so he should only get, 1 month of community service. And, of course, he has to give back what he stole. So, let's say you were that person, which one would you want? Right. So you're hoping that the judge says community service, right? Well, your defense attorney was a good attorney, and he said, look, this is the first time he did something wrong. It's not that he's a repeat offender, like the 10th time he did something wrong. And he just didn't understand what it was. So if you put him in jail for 3 months, he'll associate with other people who are real criminals, and that could affect him. So it's better to just put him on probation for 3 months. He has to take classes about how it's not good to steal, and do community service, and in this way he can correct himself. So you're hoping, please, judge, don't let me go to jail 3 months. Let me do community service, right? And the judge decides, okay, because it's his first time and we don't want him to do it again, therefore let him do community service. Let him take a class on the how it's bad to steal, and hopefully he'll never do it again. And you feel relieved. Oh, thank God, You see. So Krishna is going to decide. If you want to do something bad, you can't do it unless Krishna helps you. If you want to do something good, you can't do it unless Krishna helps you. But whether you're going to get the good result, that depends on your previous karma. But if you want to do something good for Krishna, then definitely Krishna will let you do that. So that, see, if you desire something good for sense gratification, then it only depends, it will be, only Krishna will give it to you if you deserve it from your previous karma. But if you desire something good to please Krishna, then Krishna will definitely give it to you. So what should our desires be? For sense gratification? Get something good for sense gratification? Like you're 16 and you want to get a new car. Why? So you can go and do nonsense with it. So will you get it for sure? Not necessarily. It depends on your previous karma. But let's say your previous karma was not so good, but you want to get a car and only use it for Krishna's service. Do you think you'll get the car? It's a possibility, yes. It's a possibility. Now, after you get the car, can you say, oh, now I have the car, I'm not going to use it for Krishna's service? You're going to say that? Well, yeah, you could, but then the reaction would be very severe because you lied to Krishna. There's a saying in English, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Write that down. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Who knows what that means? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you can't keep doing things wrong and expect that the one wrong will annul the other wrong. It doesn't annul it. It makes it worse. See? Okay. So go ahead. Any more homework, Ria? Oh, who was reading their homework? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Sridhar. Sridhar, right? Yeah. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So if you, let's say you stole some candy, right, from a candy store and got away with it. So you think, well, I'll go to another store and steal some candy and take it back to the first store where I stole some candy and put it back. Does that make it right? No, he already ate it. So he's trying to do two wrongs to make it right. Does it make it right? No, it makes it worse, right? So two wrongs don't make it right. Okay, go ahead.
So the second homework was understand the word principle and explain the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. So a principle is an idea or a rule that guides behavior and evaluation, such as like the principles in your house, like you have to wash your hands before every meal, like that.
Okay. Do you wash your hands before every meal? Okay. Well, you said no. Okay. How about brush your teeth after you eat? Depends what you eat. Okay. What if you eat, I don't know, a tree? Would you brush your teeth after you ate the whole tree? It'd be sticky, yeah. Okay. But I don't think you would be able to eat a whole tree. Right. Okay, go ahead.
So the basic principle of Krishna consciousness is that nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything.
Right. So what is the conclusion if you understand that principle?
So the conclusion is that Krishna controls everything and we have to serve under him.
The conclusion is because everything belongs to Krishna and nothing is independent of Krishna, right? And he's the cause of everything. Then we should use everything in his service, right? Let's say everything in your house belongs to your mom and dad. So that means, they have a cell phone, they have a car, they have washing machine, everything. So it all belongs to your mom and dad. Can you use something without asking their permission? No, right? Because everything belongs to them. So it's the same thing in nature. Everything belongs to Krishna. Does your body belong to Krishna? Some people think, oh, my body belongs to me. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Is that a correct understanding? No. So this is the understanding, like women who want to have abortions. Their argument is, well, my body belongs to me. So the government can't tell me what I do with my body. Is that a valid argument? Well, if you say no, why you say no? There's at least 60 to 80 million women in this country that say yes, that's true. Yes. Okay, but what's the body made of? Yeah, like, for example, earth, mind. All these things belong to Krishna. It doesn't belong to the person. So, who makes the rules of how to use the body? Yeah, he makes the rules. That's why you're reading Bhagavad Gita. He's telling you all the rules of how to use the body. Just like if you buy, let's say you buy a Lego set, right? Is there an instruction booklet that comes with it? By the manufacturer, right? So if you say, oh, I don't need that instruction, but I know all about Legos, and you tear it up and you don't read it, right? Huh? And then you're making Legos, you make something, it's really big, and it falls down in your head. It knocks you out, And then when you wake up, you're in the hospital, and doctor says, "What happened to you?" He said, "I don't know. I was just playing with the Legos and then I blacked out, And the father says, he was doing something stupid, and he built the Legos on top of the table that was 3 feet high, and he made the Lego 8 feet high, and the whole thing collapsed on his head. And if you read the instruction books, it says, don't do that. So what did he do with the instruction book? He tore it up. He said, I know all about Legos. I don't need this book. And I tore it up and threw it away. And then he got knocked out on the head. You see? So should you read the instructions of, let's say, you buy a new computer, or you buy a new cell phone, or you buy a pot that steams vegetables. Should you read the instruction book that comes with it? Yeah. Let me tell you about steam pots. Do you know that they can explode? Yeah. They have what's called a safety valve. Write that down. Safety valve. S-A-F-E-T-Y. Valve. V-A-L-V-E. Who knows what a safety valve is? Yes, Augustine. Not exactly. It's not something you turn on. Yes. What's that do, that opening? It sounds like a snake, right? What does it do? Why? Why does it do that? Hey, it could explode. The top could explode like that and hit you in the head, and you could die. That's how powerful it is. If they don't have that safety valve. Then you have a safety valve on your water heater also. And there are safety valves on a lot of different machines. Why? Because if they didn't put it there, it could build up so much pressure that it could blow up. And you could damage your house. You could get killed. You could get burned by if the safety valve pops open. And you're looking at it like this, so it hits you in the head, and then the steam burns your skin. You end up in the hospital with 3rd-degree burns and maybe a concussion, right? So, all these things, when they're misused, they're extremely dangerous, even though there's a safety valve. If you're saying, oh, why is it making all that noise? Let me look at it. Now, boom, it blows up right in your face, right? Or the steam burns you, So you have to always read the instruction booklet. Just like if you have Clorox in your kitchen or in the bathroom, you know what Clorox is? Everybody know what Clorox is? Madhavi, you know what Clorox is? What is it? Is it a cow? What? Yeah. But did you know that Clorox is extremely dangerous? It's made with chlorine. Chlorine is a poisonous gas. If you breathe even like half a minute of chlorine, you could die. But the chlorine in Clorox is bonded with other things so that it doesn't release the gas. However, if you add an acid like vinegar to the chlorine, let's say you think, well, vinegar is good for cleaning things, and so is chlorine. So why don't I make my own mix, chlorine and vinegar? As soon as you add the vinegar, it releases the chlorine gas, and as you breathe it, in 1 minute, you're dead. Did you know that? If you look at a Clorox bottle, it's written really small letters. Potentially poisonous. Don't mix any acid with chlorine. One man in Seattle recently died. He had this, I think he had a meat shop or something, and he put Clorox all over the floor, and he thought, let me make it better. So he added some acid to it, thinking that the acid would help the Clorox clean. And as he was scrubbing the floor, cleaning it up, he dropped dead. So, you have to always read the instructions, right? You can't say, oh, I know all about Clorox. I don't have to read the instructions. No. You have to always read the instructions. Otherwise, a lot of these things are toxic. They can kill you if they're misused. Just like a steaming pot, a steam cooker. If you misuse it, it could kill you, or it could cause damage in your house. Okay. So, did you finish? No. Go ahead.
So there are moments of read Bhagavad Gita 3.18 and 3.19 and answer what does it mean to act as a matter of duty.
Yes.
And act as a matter of duty means that the phrase means that if you're doing something, you have to take it seriously and do it properly. Because your duty is something that you have to do, and it's saying that what you're doing right now, make it your duty. So if you're like doing some work, you need to act as a matter of duty because like you need to do the work and it's like your duty.
What if you get a job in a supermarket and your duty is to cut meat? Would you do it? Well, see, here's where we get into an interesting, let's say, situation. There are two duties in life. And it's called swadharma or swabhava. There's a higher duty and a lower duty. So the higher duty is to please Krishna. And the lower duty is to do your job honestly. And Krishna, and to serve Krishna, you have to do your job honestly too. So if there is a contradiction between the two duties, which one should you follow? Yes, Shrestha. Yeah. So, does Krishna permit you? Does Krishna say it's okay to cut up meat and cook it and eat it, and it's a lot of protein? Did he say that? What does he say? Yeah. Not to cook it, not to transport it, and so forth. Yeah, there's 7 things about meat that you shouldn't do. Yes, Krishna.
Anything in the process of like transporting it, killing it, cooking it, like that's a sin.
Selling it.
Yeah, selling it. Then you'll have to live how many years there are.
Live?
I mean,
Take birth?
yeah, take birth
As many times as...
as many times as the hairs on the cow's body,
And what happens? You go to Disneyland every time?
and then you die every time in the same way.
You're slaughtered in the same way as the animal. Yeah, so there are two duties, Sridhar. A higher duty and a lower duty, right? Both duties are things that you should do, but when they're in contradiction, when the lower duty contradicts the higher duty, then you should not do it. Okay. Yes. Give the microphone.
Let's say you kill a cow, and then in your next life you're born as a cow, and then because you killed a cow, someone slaughters you. So is that person gonna get the last?
That person that slaughters you was probably the cow in the previous life. Right. So you see, the roles were reversed.
Cow was slaughtered within like the 2 million, 3 million times.
How many hairs did that cow have?
A lot.
Yeah.
But then
So you don't want to get mixed up. Like, fools run in where what? Angels fear to tread. So why should you even get involved with killing a cow or eating a cow? because you're going to get involved in something that could last hundreds and thousands and millions of lifetimes. That's why you have to read the instructions. Where's that instruction that you should not kill the cow, eat the cow, sell the cow? Well, it's originally in what's called the Manu Samhita, the law book for society. Manu was one of the very prominent person in the universe. When there's no prominent person to take that position, Krishna appears as the Manu. And Manu wrote the law book for human society. And this is one of the things that he wrote in that book. Okay. So who else did their homework? Very good, Sridhar. Thank you. Okay, Prabhalika.
Was to explain what man proposes, God disposes means, understand the word principle, explain the basic principle of Krishna consciousness, and read Bhagavad Gita 3.18 and 19 and understand what it means to act as a matter of duty. So the meaning of man proposes, God disposes means that individuals are omnipotent in fulfilling their desires. However, the Lord can fulfill everyone's desires and remains neutral to everyone.
Wait a minute. The individual is omnipotent in what? Satisfying their desires? Fulfilling their desires? Is that true? Did you write that down yourself, or did you copy it from the book? Where was it? Third point. Third what? Huh? What does it say? Oh, you forgot a little word. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what does that mean, omnipotent? It's different ways of pronouncing that word, but usually it's omnipotent. Yeah. Yes, Ria. Yes, so how can you divide that word up into its different parts? It's a Latin word. Yes, Shasta. Yes. So it's a Latin word that came into the English language. So omni means all and potent means power. So it means you have all power. And we're going to start learning how to recognize these words that come in from different languages with what's called, write this down, prefixes, root, and suffix. Prefix, root, and suffix. So there are many words that have a prefix that means something, a root of the word that means something, and a suffix that means something. Suffix is what comes at the end, prefix is what comes in the beginning, and the root is the core, has the core meaning. Just like inside, outside, and precocious, and preamble. You can divide the word up sometimes in two parts, prefix and root, or sometimes three parts, prefix, root, suffix. And if you learn what these prefixes and suffixes mean, and roots, then you can tell what the word means. And if you don't know this, then you're just guessing, because many words in the English language come from Latin, French, Greek, German, Scandinavian, and so forth. So, and then many words that come into the language sometimes are pronounced in the way they were in the other language. that makes it even more confusing, you know. And then some words are written like in the other language and pronounced like that, and it gets very confusing because English is not always a phonetic language. Phonetic, write it down. Phonetic, Phonetic. Phonetic means it's pronounced exactly as it's written. But there are many words in English that are not always pronounced as it's written. So it gets confusing. You have to learn how to pronounce words in English. Sometimes there are languages that are phonetic. You pronounce it exactly the way it's written. But because in English some words came in from other languages, like, for example, some words have come into English from Hindi, right? Like, for example, Pandit, Guru. So those words are pronounced more or less like they're written, right? But then there are other words like Juggernaut. That came into the English language, right? But how do they pronounce it in English? Yes? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I have to think about it. It's pronounced a little bit different than the way it's pronounced in Orissa. So it gets a little confusing, you know. Okay. So you wrote that down, right? Phonetic. And I'll give you more examples of words that are phonetically, or languages that pronounce words phonetically, and English, some words are not pronounced phonetically. Okay, so next homework. You didn't finish. Go ahead.
However, the Lord can fulfill everyone's desire and remain special to everyone. When one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that they can go back to Godhead and be eternally happy. The word principle means a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as a foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. So the basic principle of Krishna consciousness is that a person sees the Lord everywhere and sees everything in Krishna. He is also aware that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. To act as a matter of duty means acting without attachment to the results. A person working in Krishna consciousness, acting for Krishna under proper guidance, without attachment to the result of work, makes progress toward the supreme goal of life. Working without attachment is renunciation. Even a self-realized person who has achieved perfection must work as a matter of duty to set an example for others. Otherwise, people will choose an incorrect path of renunciation. Krishna gives an example of King Janaka who attained perfection simply by performing prescribed duties. Therefore, for the sake of educating people in general, one must perform work as a matter of duty, because whatever action a great man performs, common men follow.
Great. Yeah. What does it mean, prescribed duties? Who prescribes them? Well, that's true. That's called the higher duty, right? But you have prescribed duties, right? At home, you have prescribed duties in school, you have prescribed duties. Huh? Yes, there's authority, higher authorities prescribe duties. Just like your dad has to pay taxes. That's prescribed duty, right? If you're earning money, you have to pay taxes, and so forth. Okay, good. Who else did their own work? Okay. What is your name? Samyukta, yeah. Is that right? Samyukta? Yeah.
The first homework was to explain the meaning of magical job disclosure. The second homework was to understand the meaning of principle and know what the basic principle of Krishna consciousness is. And
wait a minute. If it's good, but the person has bad karma, will Krishna give it? Huh? No. So disposes doesn't mean he always satisfies the desire. He's what's called the arbiter. Arbiter. He's the arbiter. Arbiter is a person empowered to decide matters at issue, or a judge, or an empire. So Krishna is the ultimate judge and the ultimate person who decides whether you should get something or not get it. And he decides usually for materialistic people based on their karma. But for people who are genuine devotees, he decides whatever is beneficial for your spiritual advancement. So let's say Krishna goes fishing in Lake Sammamish, and he throws of course I don't think you do that, but anyway, he throws the line, from the fish with the fish hook and the fish food into the lake, and he goes, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, give me a fish. Do you think Krishna is going to give him a fish? Why not? Yes, Murli. But so many people go fishing and they catch fish. What's so different about Krishna wanting to catch a fish? Yes, Kavya. No, but what's Krishna, and Krishna has to decide, should I give Krishna a fish or not give him a fish? How is he going to decide? All right, let me give you another example. It's easier to understand. Anyway, we all know Krishna's not going to go fishing. Right, so it's not a real example. I'll give you a real example. There was a man who was a father, and he had two daughters, and both daughters were married. And one daughter was a farmer, and the other daughter lived in the city and wasn't a farmer. So one day he went to see the daughter in the city. And when he was talking to her, he said, well, maybe we can go out and have a picnic today. And she said, oh, but I'm praying then that it doesn't rain. So he called his other daughter, who was a farmer, and lived on a farm, and said that, how are you? And she said, I'm very well. He said, what are you doing today? And she said, I'm praying that it rains. He said, why? He said, because it hasn't rained for some days and it's good for the farm. So he got a little confused because one daughter is praying it doesn't rain and the other daughter is praying that it does rain. Now, they're both praying to who? To God. So which one is God going to satisfy? What? What? The farmer? Why should he? Well, maybe not. It's tough being God. You see, it's not easy being God. Everyone wants to be God, But people are praying to him all the time. One person wants something, and another person wants something else that's completely opposite. Which one is he going to satisfy? Right? So there's another example. There was once a thief, and he was praying to God. He said, "Please, God, let me steal from this businessman tonight. And you please help me." And the businessman, when he was locking his shop up, said, "Please, God, don't let any thief come and steal anything from me." So which one is God going to please? He can't please them both, right? So believe me, it's no fun being God.
Then we'll go to Texas if we win this one.
Oh yeah, can you start?
We don't know. They doubled our chance.
Okay, fine. Only you flip. And then also
I'm
flip
flipping.
back.
I always flip her.
Yeah, she's flipping. Okay, she's flipping both.
Who? Wait, what am I doing?
No, flipping front and flipping back.
Oh. I thought I have to do something else, like sound or something.
You guys are so scared. Literally, you have been coming to this temple like twice as long as me, and you like still
Actually,
don't
no,
know
I
how to
probably came like after you did. Well, when did you come?
She came a lot later. The first time I saw her was in Arisha's house. Her? No, in Arisha's house.
I thought the first time I saw you was one day at temple. Yeah. I saw you because of
What happened to you? What? Oh, is it a wizard here? Huh? Is that one chick in the very back here that's super duper crooked?
oh here.
Yeah.
Apparently that's just how like my teeth are like big for my mouth. Apparently, so like they just had to like move one of them. It's not a problem.
Are you gonna move it back out then?
I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't feel any different though.
I like this skirt.
Yeah, look at Hannah.
Wear this jacket with this skirt.
You need to do my. But it was good, right? You need to
Yeah,
do
it
my
was
henna
actually
for
really
me one day.
Archie was like, oh my gosh, did he get it done in a salon? Which salon did he get it done in?
Who? Oh my god,
Yeah,
Miss Knudsen is so annoying.
You don't even have her, so shut up.
She seems kind of annoying.
She's nice in some ways, but like, she has to know everything. She's a nosy person. What did you do over your weekend? What did you do to it
That
last
she
night?
drank in class.
What? Start singing?
After it's done.
Oh.
Okay, so now you start singing.
Yashomati Nanda Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Vidana Amala Harina Mamiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bora Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bora Vamsi Vadana Suvasa Vamsi Vadana Suvasa Rajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Nanda Godana Rakovala Govinda Madhava Navanita Tashkara Govinda Madhava Navanita Tashkara Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna Tata Chara Gopi Vasanahara Yamuna Tata Chara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinoda Shaya Bhakti Vinoda Shaya Yashomati Nandana Brajavara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya
Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Neta Gaura Hari Bol.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead, Samuk. Okay.
When devotees desire Krishna, he makes sure that they can attain.
Say that again.
When devotees desire to please Krishna, he makes sure that they can attain him.
Yeah, when they desire to please Krishna, Krishna will satisfy the desire. If they desire just to please themselves, then Krishna being the arbiter, what does that mean, arbiter? The judge. He'll decide based on their karma, previous karma. Anyway, this is explained. Let's look at first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 32 to 35, which is your homework for tomorrow. You have to read Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, verse 32 to 35. In this verse, Krishna says that Arjuna says he will not fight. He says, I am not prepared to fight, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So, this is a special word for this, where he says, I won't even fight if I could win the whole universe. Right? So, obviously, he's not fighting to win the whole universe. Even if he won, he wouldn't get the whole universe. He's just going to get the whole earth. Right? But he's saying, even if I got the whole universe, I wouldn't fight. So, there's a word that describes that. Let me see if I can find it. So this is called bravado, B-R-A-V-A-D-O, bravado. And the meaning of bravado is a bold manner or a show of boldness intended to impress or intimidate. You should learn all these words. These are really good words. So, when Arjuna says, I am not prepared to fight even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. So how does the word bravado refer to what the statement of Arjuna? If you're looking at chapter 1, verse 32 to 35, in that verse, near the end, Arjuna says, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. So, which part of that statement is bravado? A very bold statement that's meant to impress or intimidate. Yes, Agastya. I won't fight what? And then he says, let alone the earth. What does that mean? Yes. In other words, let's not even talk about the earth. Even if I got the whole universe, I wouldn't fight. So that's a very bold statement, right? That means he's very emphatic. E-M-P-H-A-T-I-C. Emphatic. E-M-P-H-A-T-I-C. Which means showing or giving emphasis, expressing something forcibly and clearly. So here are two words, bravado and emphatic, to characterize what Arjuna is saying. He's making a very bold and affirmative, emphatic statement. Right? If you want to learn English, you have to learn all these words and how to use them correctly. And then your teacher will say, wow, where did you learn that? Are you reading a lot? Are you, studying words? Right? They'll be like surprised that you're speaking like that. Okay, so in this verse, chapter 1, verse 32 to 35, which is your homework, you have to read you can read the verse, but you want to read the purport very carefully. It explains on what basis Krishna will reward or punish you for your desires. On what basis Krishna will either reward or punish you for your desires. So, if you desire something good for your sense gratification, on what basis will Krishna decide to give or not give you something that's good for your sense gratification? Yes, Krishna, yes, based on your karma. And if you want something good to please Krishna, on what basis will he decide to give it to you or not give it to you? Yes? Well, whether your desire is pure. In other words, you can say, there was this one man, he went to Tirupati, and you have to wait in line a long, long time, sometimes maybe 18 hours before you can get darshan of Tirupati. So when he finally got the darshan, he said, "My dear Lord, I know I only have 30 seconds to speak to you. Please let me win the Indian National Lottery." Right? And then they pushed him away. So he went and bought a ticket, and he won second prize. Right? And he said, "Let me win the lottery, I'll give you half of what I win." So he won second prize. So he waited in line again 18 hours, and when he got in front of Balaji for 30 seconds, he said, "My dear Lord, you already took half, so thank you very much and goodbye." And, do you understand? It's because he got second prize. So he said, "You already took half." So so you see, those are very clever people. Now, Krishna is Paramatma, right? It's a super soul. So can he tell if your desire is sincere or not sincere? What do you think, Ria? Yeah, he can tell. So without you doing anything, just saying, "Oh, I'll give you half, my Lord." Now, he can tell whether you're sincere or not sincere. So was that man sincere who said, "Oh, you already took half, my Lord"? So, no, he was a cheater. So can you cheat? Don't stick your finger. If you're going to stick anything in your mouth, stick your toe in your mouth. Okay? Don't go wash your hand. Don't touch anybody on the way. Oh, so who's ready to get coronavirus? Huh? What's that? It's the new virus coming out. See, China makes everything, right, for the United States. And they also make viruses that can kill you. It is? Already?
Some people in my school bring like those like gas.
They wear the mask. It's not a gas mask, but it's...
One kid brought a gas mask.
Was he Chinese or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Chinese, right? How did I guess? Yes. It's Snohomish or Snoqualmie? Someone said so. Snohomish, yeah. Yeah, so you see how fast a disease can spread? They just started talking about it this week, and all of a sudden there are already so many cases in the United States because of modern travel. People are flying all over the world, and it's impossible. In China, they're quarantining people, like whole areas, like 36 million people are quarantined. That means you can't drive your car, you can't go to work, and it's their Chinese New Year, right? They're going to celebrate it down the street today, Chinese New Year. Huh? Oh, it's canceled. Oh, wow, it's China, it's here now. Yeah. So, anyway, they can't go to the supermarket, they can't go anywhere. They're afraid. That's 36 million people are quarantined. Quarantine means you can't move. Obviously it's impossible to stop 36 million people from moving, but they're trying to do that. Of course, China can do it. It's a communist country. They can shoot you if they want, if you don't listen to them. But you see how dangerous, and they believe it's because someone ate highly contaminated meat. You see, you want to know about disease, there's always, in the background, there's always going to be one of the four regulative principles that was broken that caused the disease. Right? So now, how do you protect you? Will that mask that you wear protect you? You know what they said? It was in the newspaper, yes, not the newspaper, but the news yesterday. It's transmitted from the eyes. Can you believe that? It was in the news. I don't know whether it's true or not. They say it transmitted from the eyes. So, anyway, now, is this going to be one of those terrible viral infections? Like in 1918, 180,000 people died from a virus infection. It was 180,000. No, 18 million people died in 1917, I think. My uncle's wife died in 1917 from this virus that spread all over the world, right? So they don't know yet if this is a real killer virus, although people are dying in China, you know. So you have to be careful, right? Now, what's the best way to protect yourself from catching a virus? Yes. Huh? Well, yes. But see, some viruses are so, let's say, resistant. Let's say you have a virus, okay, and you want to blow your nose, but you don't have a Kleenex, so you go like this, like that, right? And then you come to the temple, and you're coming up the steps, so you put your hand on the railing, right, and you just sort of like rub your hand all the way up on the railing. And then some other kid comes and they hold on to the railing just for like a few seconds, right? And then when they get on upstairs, they go, "Oh, okay, I finally got upstairs," you know. That little thing like that, that's enough to catch the virus. That's why it's called a communicable disease. Write this down. Communicable. A communicable, COMMUNICABLE. COMMUNICABLE. Communicable disease. What does that mean? A communicable disease. Yes. Publica. Yes. And it usually spreads like, you know, someone goes like this, you know, and then they touch something, you know, and then somebody else comes, they didn't know that person touched something, and they touch the same thing thinking it's okay, and then they touch their ear, or they touch their face, or touch their nose, and or like Madhava, they stick their finger in the mouth. Don't do that again, okay? Yeah. So then you got the disease. You're going to get the disease. Because some of these viruses, they don't die right away. They could last 24 hours on that railing without dying. Some of them. So it's very easy to communicate diseases, especially in schools. 'Cause schools are the worst place. Schools and hospitals are the worst places for catching viruses and colds and all those things. So you have to be very careful. All right, so communicable means that you can communicate it very easily. You can spread it very easily. Right? Okay, so then who was reading now? Probably, was it Prabhalika was reading? Oh, you didn't finish? You didn't finish? Okay, go ahead, finish, and then we'll go back to Prabhalika. Did you finish? Okay, go ahead.
The second question was understanding the meaning of principle and the frame of basic principle of Krishna consciousness. A principle is like a basic idea, and the basic principle of Krishna consciousness is that nothing can exist about Krishna is Krishna is the Lord of everything.
Good.
And then the third
So what's the conclusion after knowing those 2 points of principle? That,
Krishna is like the supreme controller.
yeah, but what should you conclude? Does this, knowing those 2 things, would that affect the way you act? By the way, affect and effect are different. Write those 2 words down. Affect, A-F-F-E-C-T, and E-F-F-E-C-T. Affect and effect. You know what the difference is, Shivani? Yes, so an effect is the result of something, right? An affect is something that influences you, right? So what would be the effect of, what was my question? The effect of, okay, so you were reading, yeah, so what would be the conclusion after you know these 2 things? Would it affect your behavior? What do you think? What do you think? If you don't know, you can just say, I don't know. Okay. Yes, Shrestha. Take the mic and speak. But how would it affect your behavior? If Krishna is the origin of everything, and nothing can exist independent of Krishna, how would that affect your behavior? You start doing what? Yeah, because Krishna is the origin of everything, and nothing is independent of Krishna. So then you would use everything, the way it would affect your behavior. You would say, well, I'm going to go and do some nonsense today. Well, wait a minute. If Krishna is the cause of everything, and nothing is independent of Krishna, then I shouldn't do any nonsense. I should only do those things that please Krishna. So it would, if you understand these 2 points, it would affect your behavior. And if you just say, well, that was a homework, but it doesn't really apply to me because, you know, I just do the homework, but I don't have to follow it. Is that the right conclusion after doing this homework? No. I mean, why am I giving this homework? So it should, if you're very conscious, it should affect the way you make decisions in life, right? Just like if you know that by eating cow meat, you could take birth as many times as there are hairs on the body of the cow and be killed in the same way the cow is killed. So if you know that eating cow meat is a very serious thing, then it should affect the way you behave, right? That makes sense? Okay, go ahead.
The third question was, I think what it means to act as a matter of duty. To act as a matter of duty means to do your prescribed duties.
And one of the prescribed duties for would be pleasing Krishna. And
Everything you do
yeah, everything you do
should be to please
should
Krishna.
please
Yeah.
Krishna. And like one should always do their prescribed duties, even though.
So now we did say it's difficult to be God because everyone's desiring things and praying to God, please give me this, and sometimes they're both contrary. Like the thief is praying, please Krishna, let me rob that businessman's store tonight. I I don't want to hurt him. I just want to rob what he owns. Right? So he's trying to be a moral thief, right? And the businessman said, please, Krishna, don't let anybody rob my store tonight. So both of them are praying to Krishna, but one wants to rob the store, the other is praying, don't let anyone rob the store. So how's Krishna going to decide? Anybody else besides Shrestha? Anyone else want to answer? How's Krishna going to decide? You know? Anybody else want to? Yes, Arush Prabhu. Give him the microphone.
The one who has more good karma, Krishna will fulfill their desire.
But what if the robber has good karma from his bad past life? Is Krishna going to let him rob the store?
No.
So it's not really good karma that determines. Yes? Give him a microphone.
Krishna won't bless anyone to do something wrong. So he'll obviously help the person who's praying for his store not to get stolen.
Well, no, there's two people praying. One is saying, please don't let anyone rob my store. And the other one's saying, please let me rob the store. That's right. So obviously Krishna is letting many people do things wrong, right? Because there's so many people doing things wrong. But how would he decide in this particular case? This is a particular case. See, most of the time, people who are like this week in Seattle, two men outside a, what was it, a McDonald's or some kind of restaurant or Taco Bell restaurant, they killed someone and they wounded about 8 or 10 people. Now, all those people that went to the Taco Bell to eat meat, they weren't praying, please, Krishna, don't let anybody kill me. Nobody prayed like that, right? They all went there thinking they were going to eat meat and have a good time and leave, right? But when they left, there was a shooting and 8, 9 people got wounded and one person died. Okay. So obviously the thieves, they were not praying to God, please let us, kill somebody and wound some people. They were not praying either. But here's a specific case where one person's praying to God, let me steal from this man, and the man who owns the store is praying to the same God, please don't let anyone steal. How is Krishna going to decide? Well, because they're both praying, that means, in a sense, they're both, let's say, believers in God. Okay? Next point. Krishna is in the heart of each one, so he can tell if they're praying sincerely or not sincerely. Just like Krishna can tell if you're making an offering sincerely or not sincerely. If you don't sincerely make an offering to him, he doesn't accept it. And if you sincerely make an offering, he accepts it. Okay? So he's not obliged to accept any offering from anyone. It all depends if we're sincere. So, if the man who owns the store is not really sincere, and the man who's a thief is sincere, would Krishna favor the thief? Okay, who says yes, who says no? Okay, and who says no? Who says nothing? Yes? So now I'll give you a real example now. Okay? There was a devotee who was able to collect a lot of money so that Prabhupada could build the temple in Vrindavan. He gave him a lot of money. But the way he was collecting it was doing illegal things. In the beginning, it was legal, and then little by little it became illegal. Now, when Prabhupada found out that the money he was bringing in was being, at first he was legal, and then it degenerated or it deteriorated to becoming illegal. He was doing illegal things. When Prabhupada found out it was illegal, immediately he told him, stop. What do you think he did? He kept going. So, then what happened? While he was doing it illegally, but Prabhupada didn't know, Prabhupada was accepting the money. But when he found out, he told him, stop, don't do it anymore. So the temple was built in Vrindavan, and he collected most of the money. So then he kept doing it. So what happened? He had a large amount of money in his pocket, and he took a flight, I think, to go to France. Some of the money was counterfeit money. You know, counterfeit money, it's false money. It looks real, but it's actually not real, right? So this is the way he was making money. He would take counterfeit money, he would buy it in Thailand, and go to Mumbai. And you know, in Mumbai, you know, people change money on the street, right? And they're street money changers. They're just standing in the street with a big wad of money like this, you know. And you walk up to them and you say, I got $10 American. I say, okay, that's the going price is 40 rupees a dollar. So he gives them $10, and the man right on the street, you know, he gives 400 rupees. So he was giving them counterfeit American dollars, and they were giving him the Indian rupees. Then he was taking the rupees and buying merchandise in India and taking the merchandise out of the country that basically he paid nothing for, right? Or, I mean, the counterfeit money he had to buy it, but like if it was a counterfeit $10 bill, he would only get it for like 25 cents in Thailand, right? And he took the merchandise out and sold it for expensive prices and made a lot of money. So he was going from Mumbai, after he already cheated some people, right? And now he was going to the Netherlands, meaning Holland, to sell the goods. But he still had some counterfeit money with him, and he had and a lot of real money also. So there was a stopover somewhere, right? And then the plane was going to continue. So he missed the stopover because he was sleeping. And when they announced that they arrived at this place where he was going to stop over, he didn't get off. It wasn't Holland. It was some other place there was a stopover. And when he woke up, he found out that he missed the place where he was going to get off. And they're not going to turn the plane around for him, right? So he ends up in Holland. And in Holland, the police were very strict, and they searched him, and they found that he had counterfeit money, and he had a lot of real money also. So counterfeit money, right away, it's illegal. It's a very serious, thing. So they asked him, "Where'd you get this money from?" He said, "I don't know." So what do you mean you don't know? It's counterfeit. He said, "I don't know. I got it. I went and I got some. I changed some dollars, and they gave me this, or I changed some rupees and I got this money." Then they put him in detention, and they kept questioning him, and it's called interrogation. It means they're asking him so many questions. And finally, he got exhausted, and they were very hard with him, and finally admitted that he was smuggling counterfeit money. He ended up in jail for at least 3 years, 3 to 5 years, right? Now, after he got out of jail, I met him and we were sharing the same room in Vrindavan. And I had heard about what happened to him. So I asked him a question. I said, Prabhu, I said, you collected so much money for Prabhupada. Did he know that you were doing it illegally? He said, no, he didn't know. I said, but what did he tell you when he found out? Well, he told me to stop. I said, so did you stop? He said, no, I didn't stop. He said, that was the biggest mistake I made in my life. So, you see, there are situations in life where everything is not clear. It's what's called a gray area. Now, he went from doing things legally to doing them illegally because he wanted to please Prabhupada. Now, do you think Prabhupada was pleased? When he found out that he started making money illegally, he was not pleased at all. That's why he told him, stop immediately. But he couldn't stop. Now, this is the problem with doing illegal things. Once you're able to make money easily by doing illegal things, it's almost impossible to stop unless you get arrested. Because people get used to easy money and using that money and flying around and having expensive clothes and this thing and that thing, and eventually they get completely corrupted. So, in what way should this story affect your behavior? You tell me. Yeah, this is a true story. Anybody want to say? Okay, Ria, give it a try. Give it a microphone. And affect with an A, right?
When a spiritual master or your guru tells you to stop doing something, you should stop doing it?
That's one thing, yes. Anything else you can learn from it?
Don't do illegal things?
Yes, that's the whole point. Don't even start doing something illegal. Because right away you're going to be displeasing Krishna and the spiritual master. And yourself. Because you'll get caught in a situation that you can't stop and you'll end up in jail. Good. Very good. Okay, so we're going to stop right now because we have some prasadam and then we have Rasavati Mataji's birthday. We're going to celebrate. So your homework for tomorrow is read first chapter, verse 32 to 35. Chapter 1, verses 32 to 35. And you're going to answer the following question. What kind of desire will Krishna always satisfy? And it doesn't have to do with karma. What kind of desire will Krishna always satisfy? And it has nothing to do with karma. Good karma or bad karma. Hari Bol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, you have to give me your homework. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Is your name on this? Okay. Is your name on this? Good. Your name is on there? Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Huh? What? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.